Sports fans, welcome to SportsBiz with LD. Sports fans, welcome to SportsBiz with LD.
I'm Larry Davis, the host of SportsBiz with LD. David L. Martin, the producer. Davey, taking you from behind the camera and bringing it to the front. Just so you know, that's because I really had no one else, but I figured you could do a good job. What do you think?
Thank you, Larry, for having me on. I'm excited about the show.
Are you that excited? Because I know in preparation, you're always very excited.
It's always about preparation, Larry. Thank
I
you
know
again.
that. It's probably in your office. That's one of the signs you'd be hanging up there. So, David, of course, get involved with Sports Biz. Talk a little bit about our Facebook page, the business side. Give us a little bit about Sports Biz with LD.
Sports Biz with LD is a business sports show, and we talk about the marketing, the memories, and the money surrounding sports today. Memories always created as a young child and continues on into adulthood. The marketing is how athletes place themselves in a market and take advantage of that situation during their career and after. And the money is all about how much money revolves around sports.
The money. That's what the show is all about. The show is about the money of sports, and that's what it is. Again, you can go on our website. Go ahead, website.
www.sportsbizwithld.
I don't think you do the www anymore. I think you could go without the www. What's the Facebook page, Dave?
Facebook is SportsBiz with LD at Facebook, and our Twitter is also SportsBiz with LD. If you go on to Twitter, you can ask us some questions as well. And please like our Facebook page. We really appreciate it.
And you know something? We could end up taking some of those Twitter questions, and we will put them on the show and announce the people on, their Twitter page and help connect the whole thing, and I'll answer some of their questions.
That is
or
correct.
maybe I won't answer some of the questions. Maybe I don't know the answer. You know something, Dave? Let's get right into it. It's March. It's March Madness, okay? It's all about collegiate sports, all about the tournament, okay? Now, so everybody knows, you can watch the tournament on CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. Many years ago, you could only watch the tournament on CBS. The numbers are going crazy through the roof. They are breaking records with the amount of people watching these shows. I think there was about 1.7 million people who watched the Get In show the other night on True TV. And again, True TV is one of those stations like, where is it? I can't even find the channel. David, collegiate sports is another billion-dollar business.
You know, Larry, thinking about it, I turned on the TV, like you said, there's 4 or 5 games on, 6 or 7 hours in a row. And it's also the alumni watching it. It's younger students who want to go to these colleges and be like those athletes. So it really applies to a lot of different people surrounding the sports industry.
Right, and one of the things we'll get to in a later show, because there's always going to be some sort of sports business, we will get into the business of collegiate sports. But today, that's not what we're doing. We're talking about the fun. Louisville, defending champions, almost lose last night, almost by 5 points. And the beautiful thing about Rick Pitino, the head coach of Louisville, has been around 30 plus years. And I love that you see like the coaching tree. Like, he went up against Steve Masiello last night, coach of Manhattan, who played for him. I love that. It's like your children end up going out there, going to the same sports, the same thing that you've done for a living, that Pitino has done, that Rick Pitino has done. I love it. Of course, he wins because usually the pupil does not beat the teacher.
That's
professor.
So very true, Larry. So very true.
And then you got like a team like Wichita State. You know, there's a debate right here. Wichita State goes into the tournament 34-0. A lot of people say, well, why, and I'm one of them. Why aren't they the number 1 team in the country and they go with Florida? You know something? They beat everybody in front of them. There wasn't much more they have to do. And they go into the tournament, they get a 1 seed, but don't go in, if you don't understand this, don't go as the number 1 team in the country. Florida does. I didn't agree with that. I believe you win every game. You beat everyone in front of you. You should be the number 1 team in the country. And how it works in collegiate sports, they have this whole thing with the RPI. The RPI is they judge the talent that you played against. They do it the same way in the football part of collegiate sports. I don't understand that. I thought collegiate sports is all about sportsmanship. It's not about me beating you down, beating you by so many more points. I don't get that. Collegiate sports, you want to win, nothing wrong with that. I'm all about winning. There's nothing wrong with that. I try to win every day. But you turn around and tell these kids, let's lay it on. Let's score more touchdowns. Let's score more baskets. I don't agree with that, and that's the way they rank the teams, David. I don't think that's right. You have a son in college. I don't agree. He went there, played football. I don't agree with that. I don't like that at all.
Well, I think it's done on the power rankings. It's who you played in your conference, where they ranked in your conference. So there's a lot of different factors there. So the seeding sometimes can be a little confusing for a lot of people, and there's a lot of different conferences that feed into the tournament as well. Maybe you can tell us about some of the conferences that feed into that March Madness.
Well, you have all the different conferences, but to me, it's all about your record. You know, Bill Parcells, the great coach of the Giants, the Jets, the Patriots, and am I leaving any teams out? I mean, he coached a lot of teams, but he'll always be a Giant. But he said it, and he is right. You are your record. And Wichita State going in 34-0, to me, is the number one team. And I'm not sitting there like Mr. Wichita State. My team is St. John's, and we didn't get in the tournament. We lost the first game of the NIT. I mean, come on. Stevie Lavin. I'm going to get Stevie Lavin on the show. Come on, Stevie. We're losing the first round of the NIT? To me, I didn't love that at all. And that's my team. Not that I went there. I mean, I only went to Brooklyn College for 2 weeks. So it's not like I can say I'm an alumni. And I wonder if going to college for 2 weeks I'm considered an alumni. I really don't even know.
Well, let's talk about that. Where is St. John's?
What, if I'm an alumni?
Well, let's talk about Brooklyn College, and you also have St. John's
Well, listen, St. John's just didn't make it, so that to me was weak. But the interesting thing from a business standpoint, Warren Buffett, I don't know if anyone heard of Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is offered $1 billion. That's right, $1 billion. And you'll hear that word a lot on the show because every sport that we're going to talk about is $1 billion business. Offered $1 billion to anyone who picks every winner in the bracket. Now, as we're taping the show today, that went wayside. No one won. But it was 1 in 128 billion you would have won. And then 9.2 quintillion. I don't even know what quintillion is. I don't even know that is a word. But that's interesting that he would put something like that up there, Davey. And someone who wins, that would be someone who probably knows nothing about collegiate sports, nothing about the tournament. That's probably someone who could have won, but nobody won.
Well, you know, when you think about it, out in Vegas, they set the odds for these games. Also, I'm sure that they had odds on, of course, picking the winner of the tournament, but I'm not quite sure if they had it on picking every bracket, every team through the whole tournament.
You know, you go to Vegas, they got everything, man. And I'll tell you another thing, 11 million people filled out a bracket on ESPN. That's almost 6% more than last year. This thing is just an animal in a good way. I mean, people just love it. In these 2 weeks, they do more business than all the other sports. They sell more pizza. And listen, it's not fair because Super Bowl's only one day. But more pizza, more wings. It's out of control. Out of control good. The business side of collegiate sports. And another thing that's coming up soon, that these kids, these collegiate athletes who get what they get out of it, they get to go to school if they get a scholarship and they're on the teams, they get to go to school for free, their books, their food, all that good stuff. There's lawsuits that are starting that these collegiate athletes are looking to get a piece of the $1 billion that's going around in collegiate sports and how they make money. You know, let's talk about another $1 billion business, David.
You know, the NBA right now.
The NBA, very good.
You know, Phil Jackson back at the Garden the other night, had a standing ovation, gave his traditional thumbs up. I think everybody is very excited. The Knicks are on a bit of a winning streak right now, 7-0. I don't believe they played last night. We don't know where they are in the playoff picture, but...
we know where the playoff picture is. They're not making the playoffs. They're about 5 behind the loss column to the Hawks. They're not going to make it. It's nice to see. Listen, this is how I look at Phil Jackson. Okay, besides the no-brainer, we got that. Phil Jackson is the greatest winner in sports history, in all of sports. There's no one who's won as much as him. Meaning in games, I remember I interviewed Pete Rose for a previous show I was on, and Pete Rose told me he's the most winningest player in history. Pete's right. Because 162 games a year in baseball, Pete played 24 years, yes. But the greatest winner of championships and winning playoff games is Phil Jackson. You know, everybody keeps talking 13 championships. It's really 14. Because his first coaching job was with CBA Albany Patroons. In the CBA, he won championships.
Oh, that's interesting.
That is interesting, right? So Phil Jackson comes to the Garden. He is the savior. He is Moses. We're parting the Red Sea as we should, okay? Because he is the man. There was no better hire. Yes, you're going to sit here and say, well, I really like Phil the coach. I got it. Maybe you'll do the Pat Riley a couple of years ago when he came down. He fired Stan Van Gundy, okay, who was the coach of the Heat, and he came down for the presidency and GM, and Pat Riley came in and coached the team, and they won a championship. Maybe Phil will do that. My thought process is Phil's probably going to go like we saw it in the paper and in the presses and all everywhere. He's going to look for like a Steve Kerr, who's one of the number one analysts for TNT. He pairs with Marv Albert, and Marv Albert's the play-by-play guy. And Steve Kerr was a part of his championships, part of the triangle offense, which Tex Winter was the right-hand man for Phil Jackson, who created the triangle offense. There's no doubt in my mind, Woodson is gone, Mike. He's not one of those disciples. Mike Woodson's more of a Bobby Knight, Indiana disciple. Phil Jackson will go for one of the guys who played for him, one of his boys. He'll come to the Garden. Probably my guess, like I said, would be Steve Kerr. Phil from the top. And the other thing about Phil, everybody's saying he needs to be here in New York. Okay? In a perfect world, yeah. Would you love to see Phil at every practice? Would you love to see Phil at the Garden every day? Would you love to know that Phil lives in New York like the rest of us? Okay. But, and today you could tweet, you could Skype, you could text, you could email, you could call, which everyone forgets about making a phone call, right? That's out. I mean, people don't even call each other anymore. He can manage from afar. All year long? Absolutely not. But there's no doubt that Phil Jackson or any executive, even executives running a business, does the boss always need to be here? Like here at the Daily Blue, okay? It's the boss's birthday, so him and his wife aren't here today. So the Daily Blue is without the leadership. The show goes on. The business is here, right? So I believe I'm on that side that Phil Jackson can manage and lead this team. Not here every day, from afar. I believe that.
Well, do you think Phil Jackson in his decision, providing he does replace the existing coach now, Mr. Woodson, do you think he'll be hiring a coach that he's familiar with, that he'll be able to actually walk on that court, put his input into the operation on the court?
Yeah, that's one of the things I just brought up, that I thought Steve Kerr played for him. Played for him in Chicago and now as a TNT analyst, and did say he'd like to get in coaching, and that's before Phil got the job. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, I agree with you. Yes, he's going to get one of his guys, just like everyone. David, you used to run Harley Davidson dealerships. Don't you want to bring in one of your guys?
Yes,
everybody needs to build their own team, their people, their thoughts, and Phil will bring one of his guys who has the same thoughts as Phil. And then you bring it up to Carmelo. Okay, now he already said, I love what Phil did already to Carmelo. Said Carmelo can up his game another notch. Already he's challenging top 2 scorer, top 3, top 5 scorer in the NBA. He's always right up there, Carmelo. He could score. The rap on Carmelo, he's got to make other players better around him. And that's the problem with the Knicks this year. You watch the Knicks, they're always looking at Carmelo. Carmelo, give the ball to Carmelo, give the ball to Carmelo, and he's the one who shoots most of the time. Like Phil said, kick it up a notch, Carmelo. So if he wants to stay in New York, and one, he gets the most money to stay here, and he wants to play for the winningest guy in all of sports history. History. Okay?
Right.
Carmelo. That's where you want to be, Carmelo. You stay here. You make the most money, and you're with the great Phil Jackson. It's not even a question. Now, I know that he said, I want to test free agency. I don't know what he wants to do. You want to go out and test free agency? What does that mean? You want to go to every city, they wine and dine you? You can eat in every restaurant. You can drink every wine. I don't understand what he wants. He wants everyone to love him. They love you now. I don't get his thought process, but it's Carmelo. He can do whatever he wants. To me, you sign with the Knicks, you make $35 million more staying here,
right,
being in the greatest city in the world, playing for the greatest winner of all time. Agree, David? You don't have to agree with me all the time.
I agree that Phil is going to challenge these great players, and being good in New York sometimes just doesn't work well. You have to be great. Phil comes from something that's really great. He's surrounded himself since his early career with players like Bill Bradley, who became a senator, Dave DeBusschere, Clyde Frazier.
Right, he was on that Knick team, and then he picked and chose. And the other thing is, like, people are like, well, he never was involved in player personnel. What? He might not have had the final decision, but you don't have coaches, and to me, in today's day and age, coaches are part of your team, part of your decision making. You want to know who the coach wants. Again, yeah, the general manager, the president, And the owner can get involved and make those final decisions, but you're asking the coach what he thinks. And one of the things Phil brought up at his press conference was that he pushed for medical bill. I love that. Pete Vesey came up with that line. Medical Bill Cartwright for the trade for Oakley, and brought Bill Cartwright from the Knicks to the Bulls, and that helped to win champions. So Phil was involved there with those decisions. And one last thing I want to throw out there is it's funny that, Jimmy Dolan gives him full autonomy, and Steve Mills is at the press conference. I don't know. I don't think Phil picked Steve Mills. So Steve Mills stays on. So right there and then, there's one guy that Phil did not pick. And I'm not saying he doesn't like Steve Mills, but he didn't pick him. And already, he's part of the fabric.
Well, with full autonomy, he can do as he pleases.
Well,
with
he can
on
get
the
rid of
staff
him, right?
now.
Exactly. But I'm saying at that press conference, he brought him on.
Right.
He was there. I mean, that's a Dolan pick. Whatever. That's the way it's going to be. That's just my take on it. I thought that was a little thing I had to throw in there. That I didn't really hear people talking about that.
Let's talk a little bit now about the NFL free agency that's going
Dave,
on.
You're moving the show along. I like that. Really? That's
Preparation is everything, Larry.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where'd you come up with that line?
I invented that one.
Yeah, okay. I don't know about you better. Yeah, let's talk a little free agency. Jets, Giants. Everyone's saying the Jets are being silent. They got a lot of money here. And then finally, just the other day, Rex and John Idzik, general manager, were on, I don't know what show, they did a press conference and talked a little bit about it. I don't know what their plan is. I don't know what they're thinking about their free agency moves, or shall I say non-moves. They lose Crow Marty. He goes to another team. They don't know what they're doing with the quarterback backup situation. Michael Vick is coming in this weekend. And you just hear, listen, I'm not the Rex guy. I had said Rex should be fired. I don't think Rex has done such a good job. Okay, first 2 years he did. What have you done for me lately? Last 3 years in a row, the Jets have not made the playoffs. Isn't that what it's all about? Isn't that what it's all about, making the playoffs? So I'm not saying, do I like Rex? Yeah. I love the bravado. I love all the stuff, but all this bravado never worked. Right. So I'm not the fan of him as the head coach. He's a good D coordinator, defensive coordinator. Yeah, but I'm not a fan of his as a head coach. I don't think he's done a good job. He's here 5 years. He's a couple of games over 500. To me, that's not strong. I don't know what the Jets are doing. To jump on the side of Big Blue, the Giants making some moves. Giants are making moves. They're not messing around. Jerry Reese is out there picking up players left and right. Giants have picked up 5-6 different players. Solidified that secondary that was weak last year. Let go of Justin Tuck, which is a sad thing. Listen, I know Justin, been to his charity events, like Justin a lot. I agree with Justin in a way. He did everything as a Giant, acted like a Giant, always respected the blue jersey. And the Giants just let him go that way. Like he told the story that John Mara called him. He called John Mara and said, listen, I got a deal from the Oakland Raiders. Here's what it is. He wanted that respect. John Mara said, you call me and let me know. Okay? Calls John Mara and tells him the deal he got from the Raiders. Commitment to excellence. Okay? The Raiders. Right. Al Davis, not related to me. His line was, just win, baby. And he's right, because it's all about winning. Calls John Mara up, tells him the deal he got from the Raiders. And this is what I was very surprised on the Giants organization. Because John Mara's dad, Wellington Mara, one of the classiest guys ever in life, let alone sports, ends up the assistant GM of the Giants. Calls Justin. I don't even know the guy's name, and I should know because I have a sports business show. I don't even know his name. He calls up Justin and says, we've declined the deal and we're going to let you go. I would think that Justin Tuck, and I know it's a business, but at least Jerry Reese, the GM of the Giants, should call him. And then if he has the relationship, he can go right to the owner, John Mara. And John, you're not the one who calls him back. I get it. You need a buffer. But this is life, man. The guy was with the Giants his whole career. You drafted him out of Notre Dame. Like he said, he wore the blue the right way. This is what you want in sports. With all these other guys with the guns and the drugs and this, I didn't like the way they let Justin Tuck go.
Was it a money thing strictly with him?
Absolutely.
I mean, would have he loved to finish career here? I'm assuming he would
yes.
have.
But they didn't give him the right amount of money. I got that. I'm cool with that. I got the business end of it. I'm okay with all that. I don't like how they let him go. That, to me, I don't really love it. Okay. The other teams that did well, the Broncos, went right out there, went after it, signed a few players. Broncos aren't messing around. John Elway, the general manager of them, 5-time Super Bowl, only 2 wins. He's 2-3 in the Super Bowl, one of the greatest quarterbacks in history. is the GM there. He's done a nice job, and he realized his window with Peyton Manning, one of the greatest quarterbacks ever, is a couple of years, 2-3 year window, maybe more. You never know with Peyton because he's playing at such a high level, breaking every record last year, except one of the things that Peyton's record is not that good. He's under 500 in playoff games, David. And you know something? Again, it's back to winning. Forget about the money. These guys make tons of money. It's all about winning. And you know something? Peyton's not winning enough. He's only got one Super Bowl win, and that's not good. And the way they got blown out. It brought me back to years ago when these Super Bowls were always blowouts. Got blown out. You watch Super Bowl? I hope.
Yes, I watched it. What are the chances in them getting back to the Super Bowl? They made all of these great off-season trades. They want to get back there. They want to prove who they are. He needs to get that under his belt and have number 2, I think.
You're right. What are the chances? I think they got a good chance. But you know something? The AFC is not that tough. There's not a lot of teams there. The NFC is the tougher one. You got San Francisco and you got Seattle. 2 very good teams. I think San Francisco would have beat Denver last year. I really do, but let's not forget the New England Patriots. Yeah. Bill Belichick, Tom Brady, and number 24, Darrelle Revis. The Patriots are always there. So they have a chance? Absolutely they have a chance. But I don't really know what's going to happen, except I do think the NFC, not the AFC, will win again because Peyton just does not win in the big games. I mean, it's just the way it goes. He got knocked out too many times in the first round of the playoffs. That's what it comes down to. It's not like his brother. Eli's got 2 and 2 MVPs.
And he wasn't looking that strong with that Super Bowl that they just came out of. So he has a lot of work to do, but if they surround him with the right players, which they're doing in free agency, they'll have maybe a shot to get back to the Super Bowl.
What happened to my hockey stick? I want to go into hockey. Here's my stick. Okay, this is my own stick right here, my hockey stick. Let's talk a little Lundqvist. Okay? Henrik Lundqvist breaks Mike Richter's record, wins for the Rangers. Henrik Lundqvist can go down as one of the greatest goaltenders in Ranger history.
Well, he's got
to win a cup.
And he's got 302 wins.
As he keeps going. You know, let's not forget Mike Richter had 73 ties. In Richter's run, it was different. You know, now, they don't go right. They go to overtime, 5 minutes, and then they go to a shootout. A little different. I mean, listen, Mike Richter, won cups. Again, my whole thing is all about winning, David. And Lundqvist is not one in the Stanley Cup in the NHL, but he did win in the Olympics for Sweden. He lost this year. He won a silver. And I'll tell you, just to jump to the Olympics for a second, I don't even remember them. I mean, it's a shame. These Olympics went down. Not one person that I can remember came out as the darling, the star of the Olympics. Nobody I can think of. The only thing I remember about these Olympics, and this is sad, that the women lost in the finals for the gold medal, up 2-0 with 3 minutes left, and they lose. Wow. That hurts, man. That is, you go back to the old, on Channel 7, The Wide World of Sports, the thrill of victory. And wow, is that the agony of defeat, Davey, huh?
Yeah, that is the agony of defeat. And again, there wasn't one thing that I could remember, but Lundqvist, coming off the Sochi Olympics there, he's in the market. Where do you see the Rangers in the playoff picture this year, Larry?
Listen, hockey's all about hot goaltending. And if Lundqvist is hot during the playoffs, he's going to win. If he's not, they won't. I mean, it's all hot goaltending. It doesn't matter who you are. A no-name goaltender, not one of the greats, can come up and have a hot series, have a hot couple of series, and that's what happens in hockey. It is goaltending. It's hot goaltending, and that's who makes it far in the playoffs. It's all about goaltending. And a couple, of course, good goals. I mean, you got to make some strong plays, make some goals when needed, but it's all about goaltending, man. It really is. And, the other thing I want to talk about in hockey is Jaromir Jagr. I mean, Jaromir Jagr's got over 700 goals. He's 41 years old, okay? Played with the great Mario Lemieux, so he's won cups. He's leading the Devils in scoring right now, okay, at 41.
He's got 59 points this season.
He's got 59 points. Very good, David. Did a little homework there. That's right. It's all about preparation. He's got 59 points, and the guy, for 3 years, he went back to Europe and played, so he lost 3 years. And he was part of 3 strikes. 3 strikes shortened years. So he lost about 300 games. And the way he figured out, on his average, he scored a half a goal a game. He's a little less than half a goal a game. It's another 150 goals. That, to me, would put him up there with the greatest hockey player of all time. and probably one of the top 5 athletes of all time. 99, you know his name?
Mark Gretzky.
Mark Gretzky, close. Wayne Gretzky. Not bad, Davey. That's why after the show you'll be back behind the camera, but that wasn't bad. You know, you're trying.
Okay.
I mean, at least you're trying. You know, you put Mark and Gretzky together. I got it. That's not bad.
I got it confused.
Just a little, you know. And then to jump to the sports biz side, again, huge fan of Yaga. Interviewed him a few times. Love him. I had to give a shout out to my boy Yaga because I love that, okay? The other thing I want to bring up, the last topic we're going to have on today's show, is friends of the show, JP Sports Collectibles. JP Sports Collectibles is one of these businesses that put together the big autograph shows. They have a big autograph show this weekend. It's going to be Westchester County Center. They have about 15, 20 players. I got it right here. One of the guys going to be there is one of the greatest athletes and one of the greatest baseball players, in my opinion, of all time, is the great Mariano Rivera.
And he'll be signing at their show for about 2 hours. You can go in there and you can get some personalizations, hand-signed memorabilia.
Like what? What do you mean personalization?
Well, you can put his accolades on there, how many World Series he won. Well, you can get it personalized to your son or your daughter.
Like Mario, what? He'll write to David, happy birthday?
He would write to David, happy birthday.
That's cool.
And they have about 15 other players from Major League Baseball, the NHL, and it's a great experience for everybody.
It's a great experience for kids. JPSports.com. They're on our website as well, on SportsBiz with LD. You could see them as well. You could buy the autographs without being there. You can go there, meet the players, get photos with. Love them. They're a big part of the show. Today we were trying to get Ozzie Guillen, who won the World Series with the White Sox a few years back. He couldn't call into the show, but that's the kind of stuff that's going to be on the show. You will be getting guests like that, whether they're in studio and they'll know names of people, not like Dave, who, you know, sorry.
Got
Davey.
a little nervous there, Larry. But thank you. I could have went with just Gretzky, but
you could have, right? Like most people would have, but that's okay. You learn. That's why, like I said, you go back to the other side of the camera unless we're really, you know, don't have anybody. But the JP Sports promotions are great. It's a great show. I've been there. I've emceed them. Love it. You bring your kids, you bring your family, you get autographs, you meet your stars. I mean, how are you going to meet these people? I tell people all the time, if you see someone out in a restaurant or whatever, you turn around and go say to them, respectfully, hi, how you doing? Can I please have your order? Can I please get a photo with you? Guys will respect that. Don't feel you can't go up to them, because they wouldn't be out in public if they didn't realize that people want to go up to them. Because tomorrow you're going to say, I shoulda, I coulda, and I woulda, but you didn't. Okay, and last but not least, I just want to bring my daughter Chloe onto the show to say hi to everybody out there. Chloe Paige Davis. Chloe, say hi to everybody out there.
Hi.
Hi, that's it. Anything else you want to say to everybody out there? Nothing? That's it, honey?
That's it.
Okay, so we want to close out the show. I'm your host, Larry Davis, Sports Biz with LD. Again, Davey, do all the business. I know, it's Sports Biz LD everything. Can you just do that?
You can
Finish
see
us out.
You can see us on Facebook at SportsBiz with LD. You can visit our website, SportsBiz with LD. Log on, find out about JP Sports shows for this weekend. And you can also follow us on Twitter at SportsBiz with LD. Thank you so much.
And don't forget the Daily Blue, and the E is silent. That's BLU. Thank you for the Daily Blue. Thanks for everybody out there. We'll be back next week. Sports Biz with LD. I'm Larry Davis. Chloe, you want to wave to everybody out there? Okay? Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.